How's it going? I'm Icon, and this is my Salem vlog. I want to start off talking a little bit about history before we get into anything else. Um, this game's been around since January 2011 is when it was announced by C-Tribe. That is Jorb and Loftar, the original creators of this game. Loftar did, I believe, the majority of the coding for it. Jorb really kind of I believe had like the vision for where the game was going, and kind of brought everything else together. uh, from there, it was always kind of a backup to Haven and Hearth. It was originally intended for like potential Haven and Hearth mechanics to later be added into the game. It was a testing ground for that, and it sprung up big. It became its own standing thing. The population has always been a little bit lower than Haven. Haven's been around, I don't even know how long. I know it was around well before Salem was around in 2011, so definitely a long-standing game, prone to regular wipes every so often. I do not even remember what world they're on now. I want to say it's like 8 or 9. I believe I played either 7 or 8 for a little while, and I tried earlier than that at around 5 or 6. So the same creators made it, and then after a period of not receiving much development, having broken systems, and a server wipe, development ended up getting purchased by Mortal Moments, who took over and started adding all of the content, a large majority of the content we see today. The first patch from Mortal Moments, I recall, was larger than anything I had ever seen the entire duration of time I had played leading up until that. Um, it's it's absolutely phenomenal how this thing has persisted, and we've been through a number of devs as a community. We've really ran the ringer on this one. Server wipes, you know, um, inactivity, like you name it, we've had it, and it just keeps going. We don't get a lot of new people, but you keep running into an occasional new person here and there fairly frequently. It's almost kind of scary in a way. Like immediately, how did you find out about this game? Like seriously, um, it's always been a very community-driven thing. There's a lot of things in game that are 100% from this community. There's art purchasable from an NPC that you can hang on your wall. I think all of this, if I'm not mistaken, was made by players, actual players. These aren't just pieces of art that were added with names on them. These are actual people who came through, entered art contests. These were, the winners over periods of time. This game has always had a very active, creative, involved community, whether it's with the client or whether it's with suggestions for gameplay. Seeing these things get implemented, like there's always been a great ability to communicate between players and devs at this game on ideas, and the I forums have always been just full of people coming in like, hey, here's what I think, and then from there it goes into a community discussion. Some things don't go anywhere, some things go on to be in this game, but what's beautiful about it is, as tight knit of a community as it is, we're still out there robbing people, killing people's characters, and then we come on the forums and it's like the same dozen of us hanging out talking. This is the craziest game I have ever played in my life, ever. I never thought I would get involved in this as deeply as I did. I was turned on to this by a neighbor. He said you should. He explained it to me, and I did the same thing everybody does, and I was like, "Oh, so you're playing Farmville?" And then he'd explain it to me a little bit more, and I'm like, "Oh, okay, so you're playing Farmville, gotcha." And somewhere right about the time he said, "Yeah, but it's got a fully fleshed out crime system." Then it turned, "Oh, now I kind of want to play Farmville. What kind of crime system?" You know, and it had my interest right away. Even if I wasn't going to get into this game and go out and actually like raid someone else, I still kind of gravitated towards the idea that it could happen. This is going to be drama. There's going to be forum drama, and I cannot. If you weren't here during the heyday of the Salem forums, I feel bad for you. I don't know what to tell you. You missed all the entertainment. You should definitely go back through the HOB forums and just read. There's gold everywhere you turn. But yeah, I think that's all. That's about it for the history lesson. Uh, Stay tuned. So yeah, this is home. A couple of nights a week, one night a week at this particular place. Yeah, I stay in 2 different hotels. One out, second floor view. This place isn't bad, but yeah. Now, fortunately, because of the company rate we get, we don't get quite the discount that a larger company would get, but to sweeten up the deal a little bit, they gave us free upgrades. So as long as there's a suite available in the hotel, that's my suite. If you can't be at home, you've at least got to be comfortable. All right, welcome back, everyone. This is Icon Salem Vlog. Thanks for tuning in. Talking about history a little bit today, so I figured we'd throw in a little bit of the history of the client on this server. We've had one custom client in the amount of time that's really been popular, at least, and it originally started off with a Haven and Hearth player that started playing named Ender, and he made the client. He ended up tending to it long after he had stopped playing Salem. Eventually, Latakai had taken over and kept the community project going, started making additions to it. Again, I believe he was pretty much inactive at the time when he was still making updates to it. And lastly, we have today's guest who is currently tending to it, and that is Samir. If you're using the custom client, you're using his client. So, Samir, thanks for being here today.
Thank you.
So what do you have coming up? Like, what for additions do you have? I know there's always something in the works with this thing. It seems like every time I get on, there's new additions coming. I'm having a hard time keeping up. So
there's usually I'm making a list. I'm trying to figure out some stuff that I want to do with the next update. But then people approach me with things, and you end up just like doing something else.
Yeah.
And one of those things is a quick functionality to just hide any UI element that you do not want to show, which you can do right now. If you're doing a screenshot, you can select if you want to show all the UI or not. But I'll do it more in a way that you just can hide it, like you can hide the mini map or you can hide the humors and stuff already, but I'll do it for everything, which is I think a bit better if you're going to make a video, for example, so that you can just hide things that you do not want to show, but everything else, or you can just hide everything and still make a video, which is not possible right now. And also I'm being a bit lazy about this at the moment because I have a lot of other things to do. I'd like to do a rework on the hotkeys. I have something already set up in my version here where I can just access the extended menu through a shortcut. You have in the client these hotkeys, but they are not that self-explanatory, so I doubt everyone will be able to use them, because you need to set console commands there, which you usually enter with a semicolon, and or is that right? Semicolon, those 2 dots.
Yeah, semicolon.
That's the thing, right?
Yeah. Colon has the 2 dots. Semicolon has the comma.
Yeah, exactly. What's the 2 dots called in English?
Colon.
colon. Okay. Um, and yeah, it's just like that. Just you don't use the colon there. And the problem is that you cannot set anything to a hotkey that is mapped already to something else as a hotkey. For example, something that is in the menu or something else in the game. For example, if I set just X to my new functionality that accesses the extended menu, which you cannot make a shortcut right now because it's not known to the server, it's just in the client. And for example, if you put something on your hotbar, you tell the server that you have a reference to something, and of course the extended menu and everything in it is not known to the server. So you can't tell the server, make me a link to this. It doesn't work. And so if I you also have to use shift and control, and then if I put X on this, then I can use shift, control and X to access the extended menu from anywhere, except when I'm in the main menu, like in no sub menu, then because the extended menu has X as a shortcut already without any modifier keys like control or shift, and it will block it. So I can't use control shift X to access the menu, just X, because you know the shortcut overrides itself, and that's a lot of a mess. And yeah, I need to find some time to work this out. There are other things that I would really like to work on, but I feel like I don't have the time. I made some things to improve the performance by hiding stuff. You have two options for this, which is the render distance to just hide anything that is out of a certain range, and which basically forms a ring around you of objects that are rendered depending on the distance. And on the other hand, you have a list of objects that you can just completely hide. Like if you don't want to see all your fields, for example, you just type in fields there and hide everything. This is especially useful, for example, if you have a big town with a lot of stuff in it, and like for me, I like torch posts, and if I hide torch posts, I get like double the FPS. But this is a bit of a crude way to do this. It would be, of course, better to just hide everything that you cannot see because of your camera angle.
Right,
And
right.
I know the math, and I know where to put the code, but there's a few things that make this complicated because like the only way to know which pixel on your screen translates to which point in the actual game is to go over the render engine, which is pretty costly from the CPU part. So I have to make some shortcuts there. I already figured it out roughly, but it would be a lot of work to completely implement this, and I don't know if I ever will have the time to do so. I hope, of course, but I can't promise. And another few little things, but yeah, there's already a lot of stuff in the client. I already worked with Ender back in the day. Not Ender, Latica, sorry. It's late already here. And a few fixes were already in Laticais that came from me. If you check his changelogs, you'll see my name there a few times.
Okay.
Most importantly, I think, is the fix for the sound crash.
Mm.
You know, if you have a lot of objects that make a sound, the client up to enters. Well, I have, I don't know if I have the sound change. In my thread, I have a version of Enders with cravings that I added, but I think I don't have the sound fix in this one. Anyways, up to that point, like the story was basically Heffernan spawned a lot of bats and prostitutes, and they spawned more little bats, and it came to the point that anyone who got close to it just crashed.
Ah.
And yeah, and to get a bit more drama to this thing, Marb was then starting to tell that JC is like 10 hours out, and he is not sure if he can just gracefully close the server to restart it or fix this. And he is like making backups once in a month or less. Like he likes to live dangerously, something like this, he said. And I don't know if it's true, but yeah, he was making a lot of drama about this. So I just made a quick fix for this client without sound, put it in Discord, and people just clear it up. And after that, I think I started with Ratikai to make a sound fix for this, which at first was just queuing the sounds, which is not a good idea, and then we were just limiting it a bit. So it doesn't really get noticeable unless you have really a lot of sounds playing at once, and then you probably won't notice that there's a few missing that won't be played because there are too many already playing at once. At least it doesn't crash anymore. And yeah, after Latikai basically stopped making the client, I took a while to convince myself to release the client, because initially I made it for myself only, and yeah, but at some point I thought it might help the game if I just release it, and I don't have anything from the game if there are no people playing anymore, so I can just as well give them the client. And I think people like it, so yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely very popular. The game has a history of awful vanilla clients. I remember it got revamped a few years ago a little bit, and people tried it out and flocked right back to the custom clients once again.
Yeah, that's like this this expression in people's faces when there's a new player and he just tells them that he's playing with a vanilla client and doesn't know about any custom client. And people are saying, "Oh God, why are you torturing yourself?"
Yeah. Yeah, that tends to be how it goes. It's, I mean, the effort's always been there from the community, and I love playing on a game where the community built client is the acceptable one, and there's player I don't want to say control in it, but suggestions from players are where a lot of these changes have come from. And just the active community in general is one of the things that I've always been kind of addicted to in this game. If it's not the drama, it's a certain level of no matter how everybody feels, they're willing to get together and talk about how can we make this thing better for ourselves, and do things as a group project. And it's always been one of the better parts of having the smaller community, I think, that we do.
Yeah.
But so on behalf of me and everybody else, I mean, definitely thank you for doing the client. We're thrilled that somebody is, and we don't have to play vanilla. That is the most important part. So but,
well, I guess there are still a lot of people who use like Anders or Latikais. It's still not bad. Like you don't miss out too much depending on what you like. Of course, there's a lot of things that you can customize in my client and some stuff that can help you, but it's not necessary to play the game. It's quite powerful at times, depending on what you do. But yeah, there's a lot of things that have not been added because Mark didn't allow it.
Awesome. Well, sounds like there's a lot coming up, and we're definitely looking forward to messing around with some of these options. Thanks for being on today. Of course, we'll see you next time, I'm sure. I'm going to try to make this a regular thing, give you a chance to keep everybody updated with what's coming up so they know what's coming up with the client they play on.
I'm just wanting to say something that I really tell everyone. I need to update the list again because I was also lazy on that part a bit. But for anyone who hasn't done that before, you should really just not just download the client from my thread, but look through the feature list. Well, it's a long list, but you can just look over it, and there's also a few feature spotlight posts that explain a few things. And like some time ago, I was helping someone setting up a few torch posts because their base was under siege. and I explained them how to do that properly, because I like torch posts. And after they have set up everything, they asked me, I wish there was something to help me fill all those torches. And I told them, hey, just hold control and click, it's in the client.
Yeah.
They were like, oh.
I do the same thing
Yeah.
all the time. I'm looking for a shortcut to work around doing something grindy, and then, oh wait, there is something here already, and it always catches me off guard. There's so much content to this client, so. What's up, guys? I'm on my way home. I just crossed back into Pennsylvania, and up ahead, about a mile, is the last DOT stop I have to worry about. DOT, Department of Transportation, they can set up these checkpoints at rest stops, wherever really, and it's mandatory if you're driving a commercial vehicle that you go through the checkpoint, and they usually have a couple of parking slots dedicated to the stop, and they will pull somebody in there. If there's no stops, you can just keep going on through. You don't have to turn into the stop at all unless it's marked. Coming up under this next underpass, there's a board. Call them flasher boards. There's 2 lights on it, yellow. They'll blink if the stop is active. I can see the bottom part of the board from here. They always put them where you can't exit anywhere. Like, you see it coming, but by the time you're at the board, you know if you have to pull in or not. It's too late to get off anywhere, so nobody likes doing these. An inspection can take 20 minutes to half an hour. Sitting there being bored, it is not fun. This one's normally lit up, and it looks like it's not today. I was kind of hoping for at least a little action. I never get stopped at this one. This is one cop sits there. It's either a Department of Transportation employee that does it, or it's just state police. They can also pull commercial drivers over for no reason whatsoever and just inspect you. This is not like civilian driving where you have to actually screw up. I'm gonna go in anyway. Sometimes they'll set up and not turn the lights off, and they'll surprise you. You pull in there and they'll pull you into a slot. I've already been inspected on a station that wasn't even lit up. I can't believe he's not here today. It's usually the same guy, Trooper Waters. He's actually really cool.
In half a mile, merge onto US 15 South.
For somebody with my background to say that about a cop is pretty impressive, but yeah, that guy's usually pretty awesome. I was kind of hoping to see him today. Oh well. I think that about wraps it up for this issue. Thanks for sticking through. Let us read together from the Bible. What, am I losing credibility here? Nobody's buying it? Alright, whatever. Listen, serious for a sec. I am in a hotel room, and I was trying to make a joke. Somebody put a tea bag in the Bible. Okay. Alright. Okay. You think that? No, wait, we ain't done. We ain't done. Hold on. You ever see an earring this big in your life? I'm not touching it. That's an earring. Somebody in a... You know what? Not even Jesus is safe. Till next time, guys.